Close encounters between bears and humans are starting to happen on a daily basis in Colorado. We spotted some hungry animals trying to pack on the pounds before hibernation in the town of Crestone, where residents have come to expect these visitors doing some dumpster diving in the middle of the night. And in just the past 2 days, the animals have shown up in Boulder and Fort Collins. With a closer look at which places are having the biggest problems with bears, we check in with Kevin Torres, who had a close encounter of his own this week.
It certainly was a close encounter. I stayed over one night and went for a little drive around town in Crestone to see how hungry the bears are. There was a terrible drought in that area over the summer, and because of it, more bears are coming down from the mountains. But we wanted to show you what happens in a community when there's very few natural resources for the animals to eat.
We live with everything here.
When you live in a town like Crestone,
The bears, you have a healthy respect for them.
You get to know your neighbors pretty well.
And they don't really bother us that much.
Especially when more and more of them are moving in.
The bears, though, are significantly more present this year, and we attribute it to the drought.
Elaine Johnson says the bears are so common in this part of Colorado, other animals aren't even afraid of them anymore.
You would see bears any night that you drive out.
On the night we drove around Crestone, we saw a couple bears, a rather large one diving through a dumpster, searching for whatever leftovers he can find.
They're going to go find whatever food. You know, bears are opportunistic feeders, and that means they're going to find what food is easily available to them.
That even includes plastic bags. Colorado Parks and Wildlife says bears will spend 20 hours out of the day searching for food over the next 2 months, swallowing up about 20,000 calories a day.
Once a bear figures out that a dumpster contains food, even a locked dumpster, it's going to try and figure out, oh, okay, how do I get in there?
That may have been the reason why a little 100-pound bear was roaming around Fort Collins Monday. When officers tranquilized it, it tried running up a tree. Unfortunately, it fell and later died. Just yesterday, a mother bear and her cubs were spotted in Boulder, but they eventually moved on.
And it's real easy for a bear to get lost once it's in town.
Being lost isn't the issue in southern Colorado. In this neck of the woods, bears are searching wherever they can for food.
They're basically scavengers.
Folks in Crestone are just hoping it doesn't turn into a bigger issue.
I never get tired of looking at them.
Some of the people who live in Crestone are strong believers that even if there wasn't any trash, well, the bears would still come down because they feel as though if the trash wasn't there, the bears would try to get into somebody's home. Colorado Parks and Wildlife wants to remind people to lock up their trash and not to take it outside until collection day.
Yeah, certainly best not to attract the bears in any way. Often they're after food. So what happens if you do get close to a bear, as you did? I'm sure you were being very careful to keep your distance, and you were in a vehicle, right?
Yes, and I wasn't going to get out of the vehicle, but here's what they say to do if you ever do run into a bear, especially like a grizzly bear or a larger bear, is that to stand still, especially if the bear seems aggressive. And if it starts to approach you, then you're supposed to crouch down to a ball or lay down on your stomach. But if it doesn't, you're supposed to try to back up as slowly as possible, and also don't try to make any eye contact with the bear because you certainly don't want to startle it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. Thanks, Kevin.
Sure.